Welcome to Aiken This Week. I'm Glenn Parker. Our guests today are Tim Coakley, Director of Public Services, and Sarah Herring, who's a Supervisor 2 with the department. Welcome.
Thank you. Hey.
I'll save my comment to the end on your color attire and what you're wearing today, so we'll talk about that at the end of the show.
Okay.
Why don't each of you take a minute and just tell us a little bit about yourself? Tim?
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having us on. And my name's Tim Coakley. I'm the Director of Public Services for the city. Worked for the city for 15 years. Held a lot of jobs through the years. Started out with the city actually taking water bill payments down in the finance department 15 years ago. And now I'm the director, like I said, for the Public Services Department. So we've got about 60 employees over there that I help get their jobs done.
Great. Sarah, you're Tim's right hand, huh?
Yeah. I too have been with the city for 15 years, working with public services and run the solid waste division. Started off in finance as a meter reader. Did that for a little while and then transferred over and ran the yard waste crew for a little while, and then thanks to Tim, I got promoted up to Supervisor 2, so now I've got all the fun.
Good, good. Tim, several years ago, you worked for the Public Works Department. Traditional public works, just like most people in the world have. And the city made a decision. They branched out with engineering and utilities, and we had George on a couple of weeks ago. And now you're in charge of public services. Tell us sort of from your perspective why that change occurred and what public services, how that benefited the folks for public services.
Sure. Well, it was one big group as Public Works, and a lot of small cities as they grow, like we have made the decision to split the two up. So it was kind of a perfect storm with our capital sales tax projects that the engineering divisions were going to have to start doing a lot more engineering. And the department itself, had about 140 employees in it. So it was becoming difficult for one person to actually manage. All of those 140 were on one shift.
Sure.
So they decided to go ahead and split off the divisions that I was already kind of managing for Director Morris back then. Mm-hmm. And it allowed my group to focus more on the service that we're providing the citizens instead of having. I think back when it was Public Works, there were 16 different divisions that were under Public Works.
Wow.
And now there's only 5 or 6, directly under me. So it allows us to be a lot more focused.
Now take us through those 5 or 6. What are those?
Sure. Well, it's really broken into 2 big groups. One's going to be our Buildings and Grounds group, which handles all the horticulture, all the flowers, the lawn mowing, the right-of-way maintenance, the trees for the city. So that's one big group that reports to me. And then the other big group is the solid waste divisions, which Sarah runs. And that's comprised of the garbage and the recycling and the yard trash.
Okay.
So,
and that's sort of what we're going to focus on today, I think. We've got Tom Rapp coming up on a future show, and we'll talk to Tom a little bit about what he does and how he handles things.
Sure.
So now, you mentioned your budget. Your budget is partly funded by the regular city budget, but then you've got something called an enterprise fund. What's an enterprise fund, and what does the enterprise fund take care of?
Yeah, it's been kind of an exciting change this year. I need to step back and kind of explain how the city's budget works a little bit.
Sure.
But City Council has always thought that user fees should pay for services. So there's a solid waste user fee, and there's fees you pay for your child to play soccer. And all of that is what we consider the general fund. It's where all the tax dollars go. And so it's all one big pot of money that comes in, and then all of our different departments project budgets out there, and they're approved by City Council how we're going to spend that money. But sometimes there's a disconnect between how much we collect and how much we actually spend, especially in the solid waste area. So Council wanted to get a better accounting of what it was costing to run that department and make sure that the user fees were fully paying for all the services that we provided. So state law allows for cities to create a business, essentially, an enterprise inside the city. And this is a real common practice. We actually do it with our water and sewer group. They're often their own separate enterprise, and a lot of other cities do it with their solid waste programs. So they decided to make us a actual business inside the city. And that'll very clearly allow the incomes, the revenues, and the expenses to be balanced and to see if we're losing money or where we could save more money, stuff like that. The good news is to the to the customer, there's really no change. It's an accounting internal type thing. The service, remains completely the same to the resident.
Okay. Now I know when you go to council with a request to raise a fee or adjust a fee up or down, you've had to do some homework. Tell us a little bit about what goes into your homework before you make that recommendation on the enterprise funds.
Wow. Yeah. It's a very difficult thing to go to city council and say, hey, we need more money. Nobody wants to raise taxes or raise fees. So we've really got to do our homework. And that helps with this enterprise because it allows us, we're properly accounting for things like workman's comp benefits and health care benefits and stuff where the normal budgetary process, that's not included in for say the police officer's budget. And there's a separate fund that pays for things like that. And now they're paid for by the enterprise fund. So it's a full cost accounting. It's very easy for them to see profits and losses and stuff like that. So we can justify, if we need more, if we can trim some out.
Absolutely. Good. Thank you. All right, Sarah, let's talk a little bit about recycling. What's recyclable?
Oh boy, that's my favorite out of all of them. Currently, we can recycle all mixed paper, cardboard, aluminum, and that's your aluminum cans, aluminum foil. I don't want the aluminum siding off your house in your recycling bin, but aluminum, plastic, and I know a lot of people hear plastics 1s and 2s. I prefer to put it as plastic, jars, jugs, and bottles, because that's easy to understand.
Okay.
1s and 2s are hard to figure out, hard to see on the bottom. So if everybody just remembers jars, jugs, and bottles, you're golden. It's perfect. And then, of course, we have glass, and it's any colored glass you can recycle. You're good to go. And actually, it's kind of interesting because we have just started a partnership with Dumpster Depot. Yeah. And so now we're actually keeping everything local. He has got a Murphy's opened up 7/10 of a mile away from our shop. So we take everything to him, and once he gets his process is going well, we're hoping to expand and be able to accept more things.
Okay. Now, let me stop you right there. You said he had a MRF opened up? What's a MRF?
Yes, that is a materials recovery facility.
Sure.
So they would separate everything out and bale it up, and eventually, once he gets solvent, we'll actually have a profit share going on. So it'll definitely help out with our budgets and with the citizens' cost.
Okay. Now, I didn't ask either of you to prepare for this, but how long has the city been in the recycling business?
20 years.
Has it been that 20 years
Yeah,
now
it's
that we've been in this?
20-year anniversary this last year.
Yeah.
We celebrated it at Earth Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were one of the first in the city to start recycling, or first cities to start some recycling in South Carolina, and we were the first to start putting it in roll carts.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. So, okay, the citizens are doing this. How does it benefit our citizens in the big picture?
Well, it benefits in several ways. Of course, the obvious one is it keeps it out of the landfills. And we don't want to fill up our landfills with stuff that we can reuse. More and more businesses now are using recyclable products. It's been a challenge to get there, but now they're doing it, and it takes less energy to reuse the paper than it does to make new paper. So that's the biggest one. But then, like as I said a minute ago, eventually we're looking at being able to offset some of our costs
Right.
with these recyclables. So that, in turn makes it cheaper on the citizens and, just better all the way around.
Okay, so give me the schedule. When do I put out my recyclables?
Okay. Well, this is interesting because it depends on where you live.
Sure.
Okay. We are set up on 4 different routes: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Monday route covers, Crosland Park, Calmia Hill, a little bit of the downtown area. Tuesday is basically from Richland to East Pine Log. Wednesday is Woodside in that area, and then Thursday is over in Hounds Lake and
Jim Lakes.
Jim Lakes and Aiken Estates. And we need it out by 7 a.m. Please try not to put it, on top of the yard waste piles or anything like that. Have a nice clear path to get to it. But definitely by 7. And unfortunately, people get used to, truck doesn't get here till 10 or 11. So I got time.
And then the truck comes early.
And then we change things, and the truck gets early, and they're running, scrambling out. So that's why we asked to have it out at 7.
And I know you guys try on occasions. You'll go back and pick something up if it's missed, but you'd prefer not to do
Prefer not
that.
to have to. Well, that's, especially now being an enterprise fund and trying to make sure that we keep the costs low. It costs fuel to go back and get it.
Sure,
So,
that raises our cost to make that second trip. And if that happens enough, then we have to raise the user fee.
Correct.
So
That's factored in
Yeah.
to what you were talking about
every
earlier.
gallon of gas we use, and hopefully, we've got things balanced where the user fee is at $17 now. But if we can do it more efficiently, they could keep it at 17 or lower it. If we're less efficient, then we may have to come back for a price increase. So
Sure.
it's important to help us as much as they can.
yes.
And one way I think helps you be more efficiently is a term, Tim, you sort of introduced us to a few years ago called e-waste. Tell us a little bit about e-waste, one of you, and what all's involved with e-waste.
Okay, well, e-waste, 3 years ago, the state put out a law that no longer could you put TVs, computers, and printers, those are the main 3, in the landfill. It's illegal now to throw them away. Because they figured out, okay, this is a lot, filling up the landfills unnecessarily. And so now it's mandated that they can't. So now we have to do something with it. To be quite honest, in the beginning, it actually kind of helped us out because we could sell it. Mm-hmm. Now, because of the LED screens on the TVs and the old computer monitors, well, that stuff they can't process it. They can't deal with it. So now it actually costs us money, up to 50 cents a pound on a TV to get rid of it.
Okay.
So we still have to deal with it, and the other items, like your VCRs, your DVD players, Blu-rays, and all that kind of stuff, help us offset that cost. So even though it's not mandated, if you'll recycle it through us, that can help us offset the cost on the TVs.
Okay. Now, where do I put it out with my regular recycling? Where do I recycle?
You call us and let us know that you're going to put it out there, and then just have it out by the curb, and we'll come through on your normal pickup day and get it. There is a user fee involved now.
Okay.
It's a $25 user fee. So I suggest to people, because we pick up several different things, e-waste, paint, tires, batteries, all that. If you've got several different things you're wanting to get rid of, do it all at one time.
There you go.
Then it's still just the $25 fee, and it's only one trip for me.
When you have that spring cleaning of the garage, that's the time to do that.
Yeah, do it all at one time.
When you've already paid for the trip for us to get there, so you might as well make as much good out of it as
Take
you can.
advantage of it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, you mentioned old paint. Everybody's got old paint in their garage, I'm sure, in a closet. You've got gas that's been sitting there for a while. How do I get rid of that?
Okay. Paint, there's actually a few options. If you're a patient soul, you can get you some kitty litter or something like that and dry it out. And once it's dried, it's no longer a hazardous waste. You can throw it in your garbage cart, think no more about it.
So I just mix it in with the paint?
Yeah.
Okay.
And let it dry out. Or if you're really patient, you can just open it up and sit there forever and it'll dry. But once it's dry, you can throw it away. If you don't want to wait it out, once again, we will, if you call us and let us know that you're going to be there, have it out there, we'll come through on your normal pickup day and take it away for you. We do check the paint and try to see if it's still good and try to reuse it as much as we can. In fact, most of our building has been repainted with recycled paint.
Okay.
So, we're trying.
All right, big items. I've got an old fridge I want to get rid of, or a freezer or something of that nature. How do we do that one?
Okay, that one's a little different because it really depends on what you've got and how much of it you've got. If it's a single item, it's going to cost you $25. That's pretty simple. And you call us, and we now do our special pickups on Wednesday. We used to do it on Tuesday, just switched over to Wednesday because it just worked better for the routes. Depending on what you have, and if you need, we can come out and kind of look through it, kind of help give a better estimate, because I know it can be crazy. But if there's like a truckload of stuff that you're trying to get rid of, that's going to be a $50 charge. And it goes up to, I think most everybody's fairly familiar with the trucks we use to pick up yard waste. And the box on that truck is actually a 20-yard box. And if you have enough stuff to fill that up, that's a $200 charge.
Okay.
And that charge goes straight on your water bill. You don't have to worry about meeting the guys with money or anything like that. We just,
But it's a sliding scale of how much you use of that truck. And we're happy to quote prices ahead of time and things like that.
To let people know.
Right.
What to
And you
expect.
also have the option to haul up to the county landfill for free.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah,
here.
there is that
If I've got a
option,
little
too.
trailer or whatever, where do I take it? Landfill's the options.
depending on what you have. Yeah, if it's a bunch of yard debris and all that, best thing is Barton Landfill out over in Graniteville. But any of your county drop-off centers will take, because we're all county residents too, so they will take any of that.
Yeah, on your county property taxes every year, you pay a little line item for solid waste that runs the landfills in those county drop-off centers. So you're entitled to use those for free.
And I think those guys are open 6 days a week. I use them frequently on Saturdays.
Yeah, I think they rotate their day off. There's certain ones that are closed maybe on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday.
Okay.
And Aiken County's website they've got a new website, and it's really good now as far as the
It's
information.
got a map
for
on
the-
there. It shows all the locations and times.
Okay. Let's talk about yard trash. It's coming up that time of year. What's yard trash, and how do people deal with that?
Okay. Yard trash is the vegetative debris from your yard. It has to have grown there to be considered yard waste. And yes, we're coming up on leaf season, one of our favorite times of year. We get buried. This is the one area that makes me nervous, trying to keep up with the money and everything, because there's a lot of it. And if people would just help us out by either bagging it, which I know can be cumbersome and expensive, but that makes us a little more efficient, or just make one pile. I go around and I see, you come up to a house and there's 7 or 8 piles strung down the length of the yard, and it's like, so now that truck has to stop 7 or 8 times.
Okay.
Where if he could just do it in one stop, it's much more efficient.
One big pile's your preference.
Yes, and no long, skinny ones. I don't care how tall you can get it. The taller, the better.
Okay.
Just get it
Yeah, for efficiency, we want to stop that truck one time.
one time.
Sure.
So if we can reach it with the arm from when we've stopped one time, then
Okay.
we don't want to have to keep moving it multiple times.
Now, I know during the 2 ice storms we've been through, you've allowed people to do some things with tree limbs and those kind of things that you don't normally do. I know as far as the length, I think we let people, extend that a little bit. What's your normal length that you prefer to accept if somebody's cutting up a tree and they want to put that out in front of the yard?
No longer than 6 feet.
6 feet.
Right.
Okay.
But we waive that rule in times of emergency. Sure. We did it during the recent tornado. We had a little tornado. We did it during both ice storms. We pushed that out to the media. We don't want people that don't normally run chainsaws to feel like they have to get out there, and put themselves in danger to meet our length requirements. And,
Right.
and when we're in an emergency situation like that, all of our guys have got the proper equipment, the safety gear and saws, in their trucks. So if something's too big at that point, we'll get out and cut it right there at the street.
Okay. Okay.
Just for safety, we don't want to force people to do that.
And let's just try not to have any more of those.
Yeah. More ice storms, that would be fine.
And I think people need to understand and appreciate, when October, November gets here, everybody's raking their leaves. You guys you're coming.
Yeah.
It may take you a while, and I know you work a lot of long days and long hours just to try to keep up with it.
Right.
But it is a process. And one of the beauties of Aiken is all our trees.
Yeah.
But that takes a lot on you guys.
Yes, it does.
Sure, those
Yes, it
guys
does.
work, pretty much daylight to dark, 6 and 7 days a week during that time of the year to keep up. So the schedule's a little bit out the window. We need to ask people to be
Patient.
patient with us. And we are coming as fast as we can. We've added some new equipment though over the last
Yeah.
couple of years.
That's what I was.
Were you going to say that?
Yes, exactly where I was
They're
going.
big vacuum trucks. They're a pull-behind trailer that'll suck up leaves, and it does a much cleaner and faster job. It's got some limitations because if somebody puts a brick out there that we don't see, or
sticks.
stuff
Yeah,
like
can
that,
clog it
it'll
up.
clog it up. But when we get into some of the older, more mature growth neighborhoods, like maybe a Dunbarton Oaks, where it's just straight leaves and they're piled, higher than your car on both sides of the street, the vacuum speeds us up considerably.
Yeah.
So, last year was our first year actually having them fully implemented, and we saved a considerable amount of overtime.
Yeah.
Probably $20,000 worth of overtime we saved with those units.
So I guess when people do that, with that in mind, you don't want surprises. You want a pile of leaves. You don't want something at the bottom of that your guys can't see when they're out there with their wand or whatever it is and they're sucking up all those leaves.
Yeah, normally you can put everything in just one big pile, but during leaf season we pull those vacuums out, and it'll help us be faster if they can keep that stuff separate.
Yep.
All right. Elderly folks. Someone's handicapped. How do we help them out?
Okay. We actually have what we lovingly call a backyard waiver, because you can actually get backyard service for a fee, which has now gone up. It's now $17. But for our elderly citizens, that have a handicap parking sticker, can get a doctor to say, hey, no, they can't do this. I send them a letter and we put them on a list, and then my guys will go up to the house, get the garbage cart and recycling cart, and bring it out to the truck, dump it, and take it back for them. We actually have a couple people that we make sure we even position it just so for them, so that they don't have to even try to open the lid. So yes, we're definitely going to look out for our citizens. They just need to contact me and let me know that the need is there, and I'll get them set up.
Okay. Now, one of the things, while we got a few minutes left, we haven't talked about just garbage. Just your regular day-to-day garbage that we produce. What do we do there?
Okay.
We use roll carts.
Yeah, we use roll carts. There again, out by the street at 7 a.m., please.
Okay.
And we do ask that you get everything in the roll cart. If you've got more than will fit in there, one of two things need to happen. Either you need to get a second roll cart, which is going to cost you more money, or if you're not recycling, start recycling and reduce the amount of garbage you have.
Exactly.
I've been working with several people lately, getting that, because we don't want the guys having to pick up a bunch of bags all day. We got to the roll carts to get away from that, because it wasn't that long ago that guys still did it, and in order to keep injuries down, because I've had several employees get cut by broken glass in the bags.
Yeah, we don't want to pick up bags because we get stuck by needles and cut by glass, and
You don't know what's in the bag.
Yeah.
Exactly.
back and you reach over and it's full of magazines and it's heavy and somebody hurts their back. So we prefer everything in the car.
Okay.
And now we understand also that time to time things happen and you're going to have some overflow. And as long as it's an occasional thing, we deal with it. But if it's an ongoing thing, we ask that you another card or please recycle.
Okay.
Well, something else they can do is, we don't require stuff to be bagged that's put in there. But if they bag it,
Yeah.
there's less chance of litter or spillage when we're dumping it. And we make our guys go back and pick up stuff they spill. So once again, they're speeding us up. Anything they can do to speed us up saves them money in the long run.
Very good point.
So we encourage people to bag it. It keeps the carts cleaner. It makes our job cleaner.
Okay. Now, I know you've mentioned a couple of times 7 a.m. is the magic number to get it out on the street. Is there a time when you ask people to bring the roll carts back into the house? Do we have any kind of ordinance that talks about that?
We do, plus or minus 24 hours of pickup, from
Okay.
pickup. So they're not supposed to be out any more than the day before, and the empty cart should be removed no later than the day after. And there's actually some small fines that we don't usually enforce, but we could if we have consistent problems.
I guess if you notice that and you're getting complaints from the neighborhood, you go by and talk to the guys first.
We do. We've got a little door hanger that's already printed
Okay.
up that says, please remember to put your cart back. We put it back and give them the hanger.
Okay.
And usually people do right.
All right, sure. Now we've talked about a lot, and your department's obviously involved in a lot. Is there anything we've missed that you guys do? And like I say, we're going to talk to Tom about a lot of what he does in his division soon.
No, I can't think of anything we've missed. If they have any problems with the service, to go ahead and call our main number and let us know.
That main number is?
It's 642-7613.
Okay.
And, we've got a supervisor over each one of those divisions that works under Sarah. So, we radio dispatch out, if we've missed something. With 12,000 accounts out there, we're the odds are somebody's gonna get missed. So, we have a missed guy going behind us, one day behind just about every day.
Okay.
So,
And if you've just moved into town or whatever, and you don't know what day you're going to be picked up, that 7613 number, that's where they can find out that information.
and there's a whole ton of information on the website.
Okay.
They can go to the website.
And I've
Good.
created a flyer that kind of gives all the information that I'd be more than happy to mail out to anybody that would need it.
Great.
So-
Great. We'll share that. All right. As we wrap up, you chose to wear your shirt today.
I knew this was coming.
It's
his fault.
It's football season. How about a prediction for the Gamecocks this year?
Oh, God. Anything that's better than last year. I can say that. But,
7 wins?
no. 9.
9.
9. I don't think
Wow.
we're going to quite get back to the 11-win season, but I
Okay.
think at least 9.
I think everybody in the South just excited that football's finally here.
I know
yes.
everybody's waiting.
Oh, yes. I
Thank
know
you.
I'm ready.
Thank you both for coming on here. It's been very
Thank you for
educational
asking.
to me, and I hope to our audience. Let me just remind everyone, if you have a question, if you have a topic you'd like us to discuss here on Aiken This Week, to send an email to aikenthisweek@cityofaikenSC.gov. Have a great week.